Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop right there. This channel is not intended for kids under the age of 13. So if you're under the age of 13, please leave.
Hey everybody, Arthur here with another unboxing video. Today we have NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Wrath of Krang, and this is Krang in his android body, and it looks great. The box is showing off that nice animated artwork on the front. Just looks badass. And just like all the other NECA figures, they have a Velcro flap. So you open it up, you got the image of the figure on the inside of the flap, and then you get the figure with all the cool, crazy accessories that it comes with. On both sides of the box, it just says Nickelodeon NECA, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Wrath of Krang, and then it says volume number 2. On the back of the box, we got the Turtles in the Turtle Blimp, Krang in his android body, we got the figure showing the alternate hands, we got the Baby Shredder, and we got the Krang in the walker, which that is the walker you got with the other Krang, so you can see that it is interchangeable. Now we do have some read-up information, so feel free to pause it if you'd like to read it. Starting off, we're going to look at the Easter egg type of accessories. We got ourselves a bar of soap on a rope. To go with that soap and a rope, we got the towel that you'd wrap up around your head and everything. Has a little hole on the top for the antennae to pop through. This is to put on the android body as if he was taking a shower. Now you can't take a shower without a towel, and we get a chunk of baby blue fleece fabric, and that is the towel to wrap around the android body. And so this goes with the towel wrapped head hat thing that you get and the soap on a rope, because it's supposed to represent this scene in the cartoon. Krang loaded up with all those Easter egg accessories. I mean, it looks just like the picture, just like the scene in the cartoon. So, I mean, you really can't be upset with it. Will I have him on display this way? Not really, but it's still neat to see it all put together. We also get some blueprints, and this is for the android body. The second blueprint we get is the foot knucklehead, and this is just cool. I like these little blueprints. I wish there was some text in there, but still, they're put on some decent quality feeling paper, and they look great. One accessory we get with Krang is a Baby Shredder. This figure looks great, it's painted great, it's sculpted great, but it like every other NECA item, you have to worry about it coming out of the package broken. Right out of the package, the hand was broken. I'm gonna have to glue it in there, but that just shows you, like, their figures are brittle as all hell. I didn't even do anything to this figure. And even with this little baby figure, it has an ab crunch. You can move it, but it's not going to budge because they painted it, and it's pretty much sealed because of the paint. So that doesn't really move. His arms do go up a little bit, but the shoulder pads hit his helmet. His arm can go forward and back, and his head is on a ball joint, so you get all that range of motion out of here. So it's like, his shoulders work great. His head works great. We got a broken hand, and then this ab crunch. Yeah, I can't even budge it. Like, I'm going to have to heat it up. And again, we shouldn't have to heat up our freaking figures. Here we have an up-close look at Krang himself, and this figure is awesome. He's got his little chin testicles. He's a lot more voluptuous than the last Krang that we got. His tentacles are on little ball joints, so you get all that range of motion in those little tentacles, and it's just sculpted and painted great. It is awesome looking. Now, you do have a giant hole in the bottom in case you want to put something in there, but it's awesome. It's a cool looking Krang, and both Krangs are good. It's just this one, to me, is the more modern version because they're both from the animated series, just different time frames from when they were drawing Krang. Out of the box, Krang's android body comes with some grippy I'm gonna get you hands. Here we have some more gripping hands, and these ones are cupped a little bit bigger, so I guess if you wanted to grab somebody by the throat, or if you're holding up the turtles by their limbs. Finally, when it comes to the red hands, the last pair is actually a really tighter gripping hand. Now when it comes to this figure, expect paint chipping in the joints, and even on the hands, the little pegs that go in are painted. So you're going to get tons of red paint flakes, and the red that you see on the inside of that hand, and this one, that was actually from the hand that was equipped on there. So you're going to get some paint chipping, and that's sort of a bummer, but so far it hasn't actually affected the figure. It was just actually the pegs that went in. Now we get to dive into some fun hands, and the hands I shown prior, all the red gloved hands, they all have wrist articulation. When you start getting into some of these fun hands, they don't have any wristbands, especially these rifles or laser hands or whatever you want to classify them, but they look pretty awesome. They're heavily painted with tons of detail in them, and they're sculpted very, very nice. Like, these things just look badass. I love the little cartoon black edging on a lot of the stuff. Makes the sculpts pop, and the colors they chose looks great. Now, you can't bend these, but you could just, like, you could rotate them and stuff like that. But that's really the articulation you're going to get out of these gun hands. Here we get into the Oddball Hands. Now, there is not a pair of these. That's unfortunate. I wish they would have just continued with doing the pairs, but they didn't. So we get a axe here. My axe has a little bit of extra chunks of paint on it. But other than that, I can sort of rotate it. Well, no, it's on the other side too. It'll focus there. Yep. A little bit of chunks of paint there, but still looks okay. Maybe I can scrape it off or something. Then we get into the pizza cutting hand. I call it the pizza cutting hand because it's a saw blade, but the blades is, I don't know. It looks more like a pizza cutter. And this side looks really good, and I love that it spins. But then if you get it on this side, it's sort of ugly, so you got to keep rotating it around because, again, the sculpted detail side looks way better. The final pair of hands that he comes with are my favorite, and he comes with these spike balls and chains, and they look great. They're done very, very well. And as you've seen, all the weaponized hands don't have any bends whatsoever. No wrist bending or anything. But this one's cool because, you can see it's all on a chain. But the chain is actually a metal chain, which I was very surprised. So when I touched it, I was like, it's cold. I'm like, they actually used metal for the chains? But these just look awesome. I like them a lot. Now, taking an up-close look at Krang's android body, the sculpt is definitely there. It's just, it's sloppy, man. Like, when it comes to the paint, like, I got some gray paint up there. It's, like, globbed on. And then I have somehow paint scratches and chipping off of this that I didn't even do. It straight out of the box. So it's not like that's extra paint. That's actually paint that's missing. Looks like something was like scraped across it or something of that nature. And that's sort of a bummer too. But it's an android body, so I can accept a little bit of imperfections. But it's still a bummer. It's just like example being, like, they got these lines and stuff that are painted, but look at how they're not consistent. They're not really lined up. Like, this side's lined up, this side's off. I don't get it. They're making money hand over fist off their figures, but yet their QC is like just some of the worst. And they use some of the most brittle plastics known to man. It's crazy. But hey, you're going to go the cheap route and try to soak up as much profit as possible. But back to looking at this figure, you can see there's a little bit of two-tone. That's sort of normal when it comes to some of these figures, especially figures that are painted, like Four Horsemen, Mythic Legions figures do it, Plunderlings. It's just when you paint the joint and you start moving it, the paint scratches. But luckily, it's flesh tone underneath there, and you can barely even see it on camera, but when I bring it up close, you can really see it. So just expect that and don't flip out if it happens. And other than that, like, I love the inside. It looks all clean. The little joysticks are articulated, which is awesome. Little ball joints. This looks like they grabbed it straight out of the cartoon. And the thing that still gets me, though, with this figure is the fact that, like, once you take these hands off, the red stuff that's inside the wrist it really gets to me. It does, like, because you can see it. The red paint and everything. You move his arm out of the way. Got the two-tone yellow. Again, looks good. All the little details looking fantastic. I love the vent just in the mid-back. Again, this is just it's a good figure. You got the little fat, like, you know, elbow rolls and stuff. So, I mean, I don't want you guys to think that I'm like, oh man, he's just dogging on it. I'm just pointing out some things that, like, for the cost of some of these figures, QC should be a little bit better. I did not have to heat this figure up out of the package, which was great. His little fat legs, red shoes. This is like a hard plastic underwear. But not bad. It's not bad. For the QC little issues I was pointing out, definitely not a bad release. Diving into some articulation, his head can look down quite a bit. He hides the extra chin. And, you know, tons of articulation out of the head. Arm can go up quite a bit. And when you go do it full all the way around, it does bend up that shoulder pad, but you could do it. I'm not going to force it, but you could go all the way around. He has elbow bend and pivot, and then his wrist rotates and bends. So plenty of articulation there. No ab crunch whatsoever, but we do get a waist swivel, which is good. Don't have to worry about bookshelf hips because this upper area is bigger than the bottom, so you can get some turning out of them. And then his legs, he can do the splits that far, and he can kick. No, can he kick up hardly? He can kick up like that. His little fat legs, kicking back. I mean, sort of swivels out to the side when you do it that way. Double jointed knee works very well. Ankle bend, and there's not much pivot going on in those ankles. Now, you definitely want to be careful when you're going to separate the body, because that's the only way to get Krang into his little area. So I've seen people where they broke this part, and that's got to be a bummer. It's cracked like right here. So what I do is I sort of put it's going to be tough to try to do it and show it on camera. So I push one side of the yellow out a little bit, not a lot because I don't want it to break, but enough to pop up one side, and then he pops out. So again, I just use a thumb and I push a little bit, enough to where it pops out the side of his body, because the body itself has little grooves on the front and on each side. Nothing on the back. So those are your options. You want to at least pop it off the side instead of the front, because I think people are breaking it because they're trying to pop it off the front and like pop it back. You can really see all the sculpted in detail, the little peg that pops into Krang's butt. But again, very cool looking body. Let's see if we can do this. See if we get Krang to fit in there. See, now I had to go off camera because I want to get these joysticks to pop into his little tentacle grips. And therefore he looks like he's controlling it better. Now, getting Krang to actually hold on to the joysticks is not that bad. You push his tentacles in a little bit more, and it just sort of plugs over them. Like, his tentacles fit over the joysticks perfectly as you're plugging the body in, and he stays in there nice and snug, and he looks amazing inside. And I even have him holding up that little baby shredder with the broken hand out of the box. That's the biggest gripe that I have. I mean, I'm going to have to glue it on there. Thankfully, there's no articulation involved, but I shouldn't have to. These figures that are coming out nowadays, you shouldn't have to heat them up. You shouldn't have to like glue them together. They shouldn't break so easily, especially for the dollar point that these things are selling at. If you got any skulls laying around, you can have him doing some Krang Hamlet. Here I have Krang hacking the face off of a Fortnite figure, and yes, that is something you would never have seen your Krang do on your Saturday morning cartoons as a kid. But I have the Bag of Violence pack from Super Action Stuff, and I'm having a blast with them, especially when a lot of figures that we get have bladed weapons, guns, and things like that. I just love posing them up with those effect pieces. I mean, I have two blood effects stacked on top of each other using some sticky tack to give this effect like his face is getting hacked off with a cybernetic battle axe, and I love it. It's so fun. And honestly, if you guys have your figures and you want to start like taking photos or just having fun with some cool poses on your dioramas, I mean, definitely check out those effect pieces, because he does a firepower pack and the Bag of Violence pack. And as you can see in my last couple videos and reviews, I've just been having fun with it. And that's really what it is when it comes to collecting in figures. I mean, have fun with it. When it comes to Krang and his android body, it's a solid release by NECA. I mean, they nailed the sculpt. It looks fantastic. It looks like it's straight out of the cartoon. And sure, I pointed out some QC issues that it had, but if you've been collecting NECA as long as I have, you sort of have your, you know what to expect when it comes to QC issues. I mean, it's unfortunate, but you're just sort of used to it. And that's pretty awful. But besides the QC issues, I mean, it's an amazing looking piece. It looks like it's straight out of the cartoon, and I'm really happy with it. It's a solid, I can't say it enough, it's a solid release by NECA. And that sums up my unboxing and review of Krang and the android body. If you guys like what you saw, hit that thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, as it'll mean the world to me, and it doesn't cost anything to hit the subscribe button. Hit the silver bell notification if you want to stay in the know with when I'm dumping out a new video or whatnot. And make sure you guys go ahead and check out Toyco Toys and Collectibles. The link is down below. Go show some love. There's a promo code for you guys to get free shipping on anything you see on the website. And make sure you guys check out the pre-order group. It's a Facebook group you can join in. Doesn't cost anything, but allows you to stay in the know with collectibles, such as a lot of the imports like Storm Collectibles, some Mezcos, SH Figuarts, Figma, stuff like that. So definitely check it out. And I mean, honestly, again, I keep saying it with all my videos, Toyco has some of the best pre-order pricing around. So definitely check it out. Show them some love. And I want you guys to have the best luck hunting. Keep on collecting and have a beautiful day.